The ballroom sparkled with chandeliers, but at the center table sat a man who did not shine. The billionaire CEO groom of the night sat in his wheelchair, still as stone, while laughter and dancing filled the room around him. Guests clinked there. Glasses whispered behind their hands, but no one approached him, not even his new bride, who twirled across the dance floor with friends as though he were invisible. His hands rested on the arms of the chair, unmoving, his jaw tight, though his eyes betrayed the storm within. He had built empires, commanded boardrooms, but tonight he was paralyzed not only in body, but in spirit. Every smile directed his way felt like pity, and every glance felt like mockery. A young waitress moved quietly between the tables, balancing trays. Her eyes fell on him, sitting utterly alone, and something in her chest tightened. She hesitated, then took a deep breath and stepped closer. She leaned just enough for her words to reach him without the others hearing. "Sir, may I ask you something?" Her voice trembled, but her gaze was steady. He turned his head slightly, surprised. She continued softly, but firmly. "Do you want to keep sitting here alone, or do you want someone to remind you that you're still the groom tonight?" For a moment, silence wrapped around them. His lips parted, eyes narrowing as if he hadn't heard right. But her question cut deeper than sympathy. It was a hand reaching into his loneliness, and for the first time that night he felt seen, not as a broken man, but as someone worth choosing. The billionaire CEO blinked at her words, his chest tightening in a way no doctor had warned him about. For months, people only spoke to him with careful tones, dripping with pity, but this waitress, her voice, carried no pity, only choice. His lips trembled faintly and he whispered, almost afraid, "What if I can't give you an answer?" She smiled gently. "Then silence will be your answer. But if you want more than silence, just nod once." He stared at her, the ballroom noise fading into a distant hum. His hand barely moved, but it was there, a small, trembling nod. The waitress's smile widened, not with triumph, but with warmth. She set her tray aside, knelt beside his chair, and whispered, "Then let me be the first person tonight who doesn't walk past you." Whispers spread quickly across the tables. Guests stared, mouths open, as the waitress leaned closer, her voice steady. "Would you like to dance with me? Even if we don't move, we can still dance. Right here." Her words struck the air like lightning, a billionaire groom being asked to dance by a waitress. His eyes filled before he could stop them. His throat burned with the weight of all the years of strength he had carried alone. He nodded again, slowly, and in that moment it wasn't a waitress and a CEO, it was a woman asking a man to be seen. The crowd fell silent, waiting as she slipped her hand into his. Everyone held their breath, watching to see what he would do. The music carried on, but the ballroom no longer felt the same. The waitress still knelt beside him, her hand resting gently in his, as though it were the most natural thing in the world. The billionaire CEO lifted his gaze to her, and for the first time that night, his lips curved into the faintest smile. It wasn't joy, not yet, but it was life returning. Gasps fluttered through the room as she stood and without hesitation began to sway softly, as if the two of them were already on the dance floor. People craned their necks, whispering furiously, a waitress dancing with the groom. The bride froze mid-twirl, her laughter vanishing when she saw what everyone else saw, her husband smiling at another woman's courage. The CEO's voice cracked low, barely audible. "You don't care that people are staring?" She leaned close and whispered back, "Let them stare." You've hidden long enough. Tonight they'll remember that you were never broken, only ignored. His eyes glistened, his fingers twitching just enough to curl. Around hers, the hall which moments ago was filled with shallow chatter now fell into stunned silence. The guests who had mocked him with quiet pity now saw him different, a man lit up, not by wealth, but by the simple touch of someone who dared to treat him as whole. And across the room, the bride's face tightened, her steps faltering, as if for the first time she realized what it meant to stand beside a man and yet leave him utterly alone. The billionaire's eyes stayed locked on the waitress, as if the crowd around them no longer existed. Her words still echoed in his mind, not broken, only ignored. For the first time in years, his heart felt lighter than the weight of his chair. The bride finally stepped forward. Her smile forced her voice. Sharp, who do you think you are? She's just a waitress. The words cut through the hall, but the billionaire's head turned slowly toward her, his voice calm but stronger than anyone expected. No, she is the only person here who remembered, I am a man, not just a chair. The room gasped, the bride's face paling as whispers rippled like fire through the guests. The waitress's hand trembled in his, but he tightened his weak grip, his eyes never leaving hers. You gave me something I thought I had. Lost the courage to be seen. For that I'll never forget you. Tears filled her eyes, though she tried to hide them. She whispered softly, anyone deserves to be seen, sir. Even you, especially you, and the ballroom erupted into applause, not for the bride. Not for the glittering chandeliers, but for the man who had finally found his voice again. The billionaire leaned closer, his lips shaking with emotion. Thank you for reminding me tonight that I'm still alive. And as he held her hand tighter, the entire hall knew this wedding would be remembered not for wealth or titles, but for the moment a shy waitress gave back dignity to a forgotten groom. If this story moved you, share it, so others never forget that one selfless act can rewrite a destiny in ways no one sees coming.